Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Bear with me. I'm just making sure that we are on. Oh my God, I already have three people watching. All right, everything is working, and we are going to get started immediately. Say hello if whoever's in the chat. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching, guys. Excuse me. Um, all right, so let's go ahead and get started because I've already sent out notifications to everybody who I just sent out a bunch of notifications. Thank you again to everybody who's here. Let's get started. So, if you see the title page, the thumbnail of my of this live, excuse me, excuse me, you will see it says churches burn in Ukraine, and we will be getting into that for sure. But before I get there, I want to do what I said I was going to start doing every Fridays, a weekly wrap up of this week's news, like kind of what happened in the news. But there wasn't that much that really happened in mainstream news beyond Joe Biden's constant classified documents, which we won't hear anything more about anymore because the special counsel has already been in place to investigate Joe Biden. So they're not going to come out and keep saying that they're still finding documents, which is really weird to me that they found documents in November, then they started refining documents again. Like I don't even know how that works. But whatever. So we're not going to really hear that. But what has been going on is a bunch of confusion in the conservative media sphere, if you will. So let's touch on that for a second for all this confusion. Actually, yeah, excuse me. Let's touch on this confusion in the conservative world for a second, conservative pundits, and real quick, my thoughts on it. So let's just go ahead and get into it. All right. Now, guys, everybody who is on, please do not forget to smash the like button, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button too if you like what you're hearing. But definitely smash the like button because it helps to send to the algorithm to push this live. Okay, and tonight, like everybody's live, all the people are live, and I'm live too. So, all right, let's get started. We're just gonna go straight to Twitter because that's where all the good stuff happens. Twitter is not a real place, right? But it feels like it sometimes. These are the people say it's not a real place. It's not that it's not a real place. Twitter is where the conflict starts or the narrative starts. The narrative is pushed, whatever. That's where all the stuff like starts and then it filters out into the real world. So Twitter is important. It is important where you get your news. Like I get a lot of information that is not published yet because mainstream media won't publish certain information. So Twitter does have its importance. But right now, we have a situation going on with conservative media about Steven Crowder versus the Daily Wire. Okay, so all right, real quick introduction for anybody who may not know, but I feel like y'all do know. So Steven Crowder is a, I guess you would call it, yeah, a conservative, like a conservative content creator who's worked for the Blaze, I believe, and he makes shows talking about the different things that's happening in the country. I've never really watched any of his shows, but I know who he is. I know of him, and hold on. Gosh, that is gonna be annoying. Let me just take a sip, y'all, because I can't keep clearing my throat on here. So yeah, so much better. So yeah, he makes content and he gets banned often. I think he's already banned on YouTube. But he's on Rumble. He gets a lot of followers. He is like his lives go crazy. A lot of people watch it or whatever. So he had put out some information and he put out some information about where I guess he was going to release the Kraken, I guess, on conservative, big conservative media companies and the kind of contracts that they are given to like the people they sign on. Basically saying that they're trash contracts. And he was basically saying, like, they would charge me this much, 100,000. And I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because I think a lot of y'all probably already know what happened. Um, he was like, I'm not gonna go, he was like, they they they're going to charge me like 100,000 if I miss a show. They charge you for getting banned. They charge you for all these things. They keep your your merch, basically your name and all this. So he was complaining. And his thing was, I thought we was all part of the same movement, that we're trying to speak against big tech, that you're basically putting rules down that make me have to still collude with big tech, like listen to big tech. He's saying it's basically like y'all telling me to follow big tech's rules. So when he came out with this, he didn't want to say like who it was, but I already had a feeling that it was Ben Shapiro. So like, I mean, not Ben. I had a feeling it was Daily Wire. Anyway, I just did, right? So, but then it turned out that it was the Daily Wire, and then later on he goes off, and so when he showed the contract, then the other guy, Jeremy Boring from the Daily Wire, he explained the contract. I'm going to get to really the spiciness of this. Okay, I'm really getting somewhere. And he explained it, and he basically was like, "Yo, what do you want us to do? Like, if you're not making content, if you're not reading the ads, I have to charge you. Like, what do you want me to do?" Basically, and he was also saying that this was not even a contract. This was like a precursor. This was a preview. This was the first steps, and we could have negotiated, because that's what people do, right? So then it comes out that he was taping, he taped his conversation with Jeremy Boring. And so I have to, oh God, this thing is now saturated because um, everybody is, it's saturated now because everybody's talking about it. So here we go. So like, I wanted to find the little piece that he taped. You know what? I could just go to his page. I mean, everybody is talking about it, but he taped the conversation basically with Jeremy Boring saying like, because he was saying like, it's not about the money, it's just about like you're giving these kind of bad contracts to people who come on. I hate when this thing does this. I do. It's all right. You're giving bad contracts to people, to these young kids, and they shouldn't have these kind of contracts. We're all supposed to be fighting the same fight. And Daily Wire, the guy Jeremy Boring basically was like, yeah, they're gonna get slavish contracts, but at least they get the exposure. Okay. So then people are like, I guess his point is like, oh, um, you know, oh, like you can't say it's slavish. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's not right. That they're not gonna get. So here's him release. Hold on a second. I can't believe it. Here we go. Wait a minute. I'm tripping too a little bit, y'all. I'm gonna get better. I am because I have to share the screen with the sound. I'm psyching myself out a little bit. And I don't know why I hate when I do that, but we are all here together. All right.
They don't get deals that
they can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
So that's what he said. They're going to be wage slaves for a little bit, come over, get a salary, and build their brand. Okay. So, all right. He has a right to make a point, but the thing is, when you are going to quote release the Kraken and expose people, you have to come out with all the truth. You have to say, like in the beginning, he didn't tell people the Daily Wire was offering him 50 million a year. You know what I mean? Like he didn't tell people that. So you got to come out and say like, listen, if it would have been me, I would have said like, look, the Daily Wire, or this place did offer me 50 million, but I still feel like they are running the operation for big tech, that they're helping out with the censorship. I don't think that that's right. I also don't think it's right that new kids coming in will get burnt out, and won't be able to keep any of their money because they're not going to get offered 50 million like me. So what kind of what kind of penalties are they going to get? Say it like that, because his thing is that I'm here trying to save the newcomers who are going to take contracts with media companies, right? So I can see it both ways, but you left a lot out, right? He did leave a lot out. On the other hand, too, Daily Wire does have to make their money. So if the person is banned on a media site, that means that's less revenue that's coming in. It's just that simple. There's less revenue that is coming in. So I'm mad that I can't. Okay. There's less revenue that's coming in. So, of course, they have to make money. They have to make money. Like, I don't think that they're saying anything wrong. Plus, I'm also a 80s baby, a child of the 90s, right? So, I I remember hearing about these bad deals that like Puffy would make with Bad Boy, and in Bad Boy with his artists. And listen, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it was right. It's just that it was what happened. Okay, a lot of people got bad deals, but they knew they were gonna get promoted. They were gonna be on a concert ticket. They were gonna be, they were gonna be out there. So it is, excuse me, it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, well, what do you want? It's gonna come with a price. And so you're lucky enough if you can get some sponsorship, for lack of a better term. Now, this is 2023, and not everybody needs to be signed. I'm not signed. I don't want to be signed, right? But I mean, that 50 million, I ain't gonna hold you. That do sound good. But they wouldn't offer me 50 million. No, not yet. Not yet. Excuse me. If I had the following that Crowder had, I didn't know Crowder was backed by Blaze and all these people. He should go on his own. He should have learned the business by now to know how to go on his own. Like I don't know, but also, maybe he is starting this war for attention. I don't know. Here's the part. Like, okay, he's saying this, and so a lot of people also are looking at him like, bro, they were offering you 50 million. We don't, like, those of us who are doing it on our own, like, we don't like there's a lot that goes into it, and whatever, right? So like I was just watching Quite Frankly, and he's on tonight. So he made a good point. He's like, he had me cracking up because he's like, I'm listening to these people arguing, like these millionaires going back and forth about 50 billion and all this with money and all of them, feeling stupid in my kitchen because and I had to start cracking up because you thinking like, dang, like I'm putting in mad work, like I'm writing the shows, I'm getting the material, I'm doing this, I'm editing that, and Quite Frankly puts on a really good show. And he's like, millions, wow. But I get it, right? Like he's he's not, I don't think he was complaining, but it was a good point that he was making. Like what you're doing is not necessarily like you're not breaking the internet with some new information that we don't know. I'm not shocked about deals that don't make sense. Like I'm not shocked about that in any genre. I'm not shocked that these conservatives do this. But why I wanted to bring this up, right? In the same token, wow, he's like, you know what? In the same token, while he is talking about, oh, this is wrong what the Daily Wire did and everything else or whatever, he's getting this personal attack now. That's the part that I don't like. And the reason why I don't like it is I could tell this man is grifting, but he's not the only one who does it. Okay. So I'm going to pull up your girl. Candace Owens. Wow. First of all, I had to stop because I wanted to read this. This is Robert Barnes. Robert Barnes, before I get to Candace Owens. No. No. So Robert Barnes is the truth. He is. Robert Barnes goes on the Duran. He talks about everything going on, and he keeps it real for the most part. He keeps it real. I've not heard him say anything that I don't disagree with. I'm sure there's something out there that I disagree with, but I've not heard him say anything that I don't disagree with. So watching the Daily Wire voices, even Jordan Peterson and real Candace O pimp themselves out to back their paycheck provider in the Crowder dispute, kind of proves Crowder's point about how Con Inc. captures, controls cabins, and compromises conservative voices. That is like, and that he really, I didn't even know he tweeted this. This is a good point he just made because Jordan Peterson had he actually went and retweeted Crowder's thing and his first video, and then he took it down. And I know the Daily Wire probably called him, was like, no. So everybody's trying to come at him. Anomaly, are you going to accuse your co-host of pimping them out too? The Viva Frey completely disagrees with you. He's more right on this one. I don't think that there's anything to necessarily disagree with. He didn't say anything. He didn't say that they didn't have to make money or whatever. He just made a quick point about that part. Two things can be right at the same time. They don't have to be mutually like alone to exist. You know what I mean? Like it can't be just, oh, that just this is right and just this is wrong. No, there's a lot that can be right at the same time, a lot that can be wrong at the same time. I mean, this is not black and white. The only thing that I know in my mind, the whole thing is that this is all a grift. For real. Most of it is. Yeah. That's the big picture for me. But if we're going into this, then this is a good point that he made. But anyway, so Candace Owens, she goes on, and of course she has yeah, she was gonna go on and definitely go in for the Daily Wire. She has to, right? So whatever, right? Before I get on Candace Owens, let me just say this. Candace Owens, when she came out on the conservative side, right? At the time, it was what we needed. Black people did need to hear a Candace Owens. I will never take that away from Candace Owens. I don't know what was the point of her doing it. I don't know if she was grifting then too, because, right before she did that, she was a hardcore leftist, doxing people, everything, but whatever. People can change, whatever, because, in 2016, I definitely was like, oh my God, Trump bad. I was not this person that I am today. But there are some values though that always have, like I've always been freedom of speech. I've always been like, you should not cancel anybody. I don't care what they said, as long as they're not, planning to murder somebody or hurt children. Okay. So, but like, you won't find my values changing at 40, almost 40. There's not that much change at this point. There's more patience maybe, but change, no. But this girl, she switched up really fast, but whatever. Maybe her switch up was necessary at that time to get a message out to people that, we've been doing it the same way for a long time and it's not working. So I respect that. And so I will say, I'll give her props. I'll give her props for that. But she is flip-floppy. And I've already, before Steven Crowder happened, I've said this on my Twitter, but I don't, like, whatever, my platform is growing. All right. Hit the like button and subscribe. But she's flip-flopping, So we're gonna go over her comments on the situation.
At the end of the day, I think what happened, this is completely my opinion, by the way, so I'm not blinking twice, I'm not under duress, is that Steven Crowder became a free agent and he's feeling a little vulnerable right now, right? He's used to working for other organizations. He has some guaranteed pay. And he thought that Daily Wire were actually going to meet him at $120 million. They didn't, they declined. And he's still feeling a little shaky on that. It's scary to go out on your own. I thought about it. I thought about going out on my own. It's a lot of work. Maybe down the line I will, but it's a scary thing to go out, to step out on your own and say, I'm going to do this thing completely by myself. As Jeremy pointed out, Steven's not done that before, right? And so to do this, he pulled a move in which he was going to try to take a bunch of people that were subscribed to the Daily Wire and start his own company. So essentially saying, I'm the hero, I'm the martyr, follow me because I'm not like those guys. And then he was going to start his own shop. And
so I'm going to stop her right there. So this is the part where now I end up almost defending Steven Crowder. We don't know that that's what he was going to do. I'm sure that probably is right. Okay. I can assume that's what he was going to do, but don't say it like that's exactly what he was going to do. He didn't share his plan with you. People are like, oh, he registered his website before. Yeah, all right, because he knew he was going to do something. People plan ahead, whatever. It's not like it's not something you wouldn't do, though, so whatever. But okay, we don't know what he was going to do. He didn't share his plan with her. And yeah, doing it on your own is scary. It's scary. But, those of us who started on our own and who will continue to be on our own, who are fighting the good fight, we lay in it and we do what we have to do. And this is a passion. This is becoming more and more of a passion for me. Like I know this is where I need to be right now. So, all right, let's keep going.
That's what he's trying to do. And some people fell for it and said, I'm with you to the end. I'm Mug Club till I die. And didn't understand that really nothing happened here other than nobody wanted to pay Steven Crowder $120 million. So he turned to his viewers, who he thinks are stupid enough at least not to understand how business negotiations work, right? Like, this is like normal. You kick it back and forth. And they were going to make up for his loss. So people that are upset by his video, the millions of people who watched it, are now going to give him $1, whatever it costs to be in the Mug Club. And they're going to become the $120 million that he feels that he deserves.
I don't think that people really looked at the situation and thought that. Like, I don't think that he would. What is there to like? Nobody thought. But let's be clear too. Steven Crowder's already been backed. He has money. So nobody's looking at him like he's poor or nothing. So, who thinks that? Is it him or her?
I was going to say this, unrelatable. Unrelatable. People are trying to pay for bacon and eggs right now at the grocery store, trying to buy a steak once a week. And you're over here crying because somebody couldn't meet you at $120 million. And it is crying. I don't like it. It was a total bitch move.
There's no need to call, again, like, I'm going to show you how flip-floppy this girl is, and then tell me that there's need to call people names. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, I'm going to show you. I have, receipt, one quick little receipt, and this means something. So
there are plenty of things that happen across all organizations in the conservative movement where I will say that I empathize and with Steven Crowder and saying that sometimes you feel like a cynic, which is like, is everybody selling out? Are people doing this? People doing that? There are a lot of things that Daily Wire has done that I disagree with. There's a lot of things that Turning Point has done that I disagree with. There are things perhaps that PragerU has done that I disagree with. I have worked with all of these companies, right? But to do a total bitch move and go out to the public rather than trying to resolve these things and these slight differences behind the scenes, and to make it seem like you're the hero and you're the true one and you keep it authentic when something really nothing happened other than you didn't like an initial term sheet, and all you had to do was tell them that and tell them what you didn't like and go back and forth with lawyers like everybody else. I think it's crappy. I think Steven is a little egocentric.
But you are too. So that's the thing. So it's like, we're all calling each other out for what we are. Black, the pot calling the kettle black. This is why I want y'all to hear this. What she's saying is not technically wrong, right? But it is not nothing that they don't all do,
Probably will do better on his own. I don't think he knows how to play on a team. And by the way, the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm going on Tim Pool tonight, so I'm going to say it anyways later, is that I'm pretty sure, wasn't it Steven Crowder who also screwed over somebody he used to work with? Was it not Gay Jared? Because he had him tied up in a contract. Wasn't that Steven Crowder who did that? So is he supposed to be the moral high bar? Or are we not supposed to call him out for that? Here's the thing. Steven, why don't you release Not Gay Jared from his NDA and allow him to talk about how he felt he was treated by you? Because I know that at the Blaze, everyone says that you're actually not that nice. You treat people poorly, but you bring in so much revenue that everybody just has to take it. So I don't like it. It stinks to high heaven. And I'm calling you out on that because I think it was crappy that you threw mud on me. Did it the first time via a tweet a long time ago. You're not doing it a second time. So
we're going to do it a third and fifth time. And you know what I mean? All of them, they all need to be called out. They do. They all need to be called out because anybody doing this kind of stuff, they need to be, and they need to be called out. Hold on, my bad, y'all. Because, and why I say this, hold on, is because here's the thing. These people have huge platforms and they're sitting up here playing these games right now that don't matter. Okay. All of them. Right. But let me just go to my profile. Right. Okay. Hold on. This is going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to find this tweet and I'm going to show you how, if somebody could in the chat tell me when Brittany Griner came home, but that would really help me. I tweet so much. And I meant to put this on. My bookmarks so that I could pull it up faster. It's going to take a moment, but I'm going to put, I constantly tweet. I'm going to find it. But this girl, like, I'm going to tell you, these conservative pundits, they really have, I don't want to say that they've disappointed me because I don't put my hope in humans that hard. Like I don't, especially people I don't know. God does send good people in this world, and I definitely believe that. And but I don't put my hope, my faith is in God. But these people, they're, what it is that they act like they're all fighting the good fight, to cancel, to stop censorship and cancel culture and all. But if as soon as you do something that they don't like or whatever, they cancel you too. So, and I've seen people say that, and I didn't want to believe it at first, but I ended up believing it. Oh my goodness, this is going to take a minute for me to find this receipt that I am going to find. I know, because now I'm scrambling. Yeah, my best friend is calling me out for scrambling, but I'm so mad I did not put this on my joint. So basically, I'm gonna give you the gist of it while I'm looking for it. When Brittany Griner, we know she just came. This is all that's gonna tie in. Brittany Griner went to Russia. She did her drugs, and then whatever, she bought the drugs or whatever, got caught up during a time of war, bringing in drugs to the to Russia, okay, got caught up and got put in jail, right? My value has never changed on that situation. I'm not saying that I was happy that she went to jail. That has nothing to do with me for me to be happy that she went to jail, right? But at the same time, when I said to people, this is not America. You're in Russia. You done bought some drugs that they said they don't want in during a time of war. Yes, they want to use you. They're gonna arrest you. This is what happens. So people were like, "Oh, what's wrong?" They feel bad for her and everything. And then also you had conservatives saying too, "Oh, well, she hates America anyway, so she shouldn't be able to come back home." And I was like, my thought is not on either one of them. It's not about if she hates America or not. Is that your constitution does not follow you to other countries. It just doesn't, right? So she got caught up on, she took a hard L, right? Never changed my thought on that. All of a sudden, Candace Owens comes out of the blue and she's like, the Brittany Griner situation, no matter how you feel about it, it is a shame that she is stuck in Russia like that. And I'm like, what? So I retweeted it laughing. I was like, Candace Owens I said, I guess she feels like she messed up to the Black community or something. She's trying to atone for her sins. But I don't know why she's saying this, because she never said this before. Then 2 weeks later, Brittany Griner comes out of Russia. No, mind you, no. And also she said, not only did she say, it's wrong what happens, she said, I'm gonna do what it takes to bring her home. So then 2 weeks later, so I already thought that was crazy, right? Here we go. I knew I was gonna find it. So okay. All right. This was on December the 8th, 2022. Okay. It might be small to y'all, but it's not to me. Now, again, I hold on to my thoughts. You're not going to catch me, especially in 2 weeks. I'm not saying I thought it was funny that happened to her, because I would hate for something like that to happen to me. I don't even want to go to jail in America, let alone Russia. Okay. But a thing happened and they weren't playing. It is simply the reality. So she said, here we go. She said here. This was the tweet. The first tweet was from November 17th, 2022. Candace Owens. The Brittany Griner situation is positively heartbreaking. I would like to do everything within my limited capacity to help her. So I was like, huh? So I put, something's not adding up here. I will have to talk about I will have to talk about this too. I guess I must have been going live or something. Candace must think she has done something wrong by always keeping it real, no matter how harsh the truth was. Now she's trying to atone for a sin or something. So my thought was like, girl, you don't got to do all that. Like, just what is all this about? And then 2 weeks later, when the girl got out, she put, trading a top Russian arms dealer for a pot-smoking female basketball player is peak Western leftist philosophy. So I'm like, what? You just said that you was going to get the girl back home. And I don't want to hear the explanation, of no, but she didn't mean that she probably meant that we didn't have to trade the deal. No. Then you call the girl a pot smoking female bad. Like, no. Now you got me sticking up for this girl here. You do not say something out of compassion in one tweet, and then in the next tweet, you calling her names and saying that, this is weak. It was weak, by the way. It was weak, but that was what I was saying from the rip. Okay. I was like, what is this about getting her? There's a crime that was done. They felt like it needed to be paid. So when I saw that, I was like, I feel like I'm having whiplash or I'm in the twilight zone. I know I quote tweeted the same girl last month saying Brittany needed to come home. And so when I reposted, I was like, yo, Lo, y'all are too fake or confused for me. Real Candace Owens, please help me understand what changed today. I hope never to allow my ego to get the best of me. I must always continue to answer to God, because that's the only way. My integrity means everything to me, and it does. It does. And that's what it means to be doing this on your own, right? What is this, right? I'm going to get to what this is. And I wanted to share real quick this comment that shout out to everybody who retweeted my tweet. Shout out to Adam B. Coleman. Very much thank you for retweeting my tweet. He commented, hold on a second. Wait a minute. All right. My boy Scotty, who, because this was Candace Owens went off on Tim Pool, and I'm wrapping this up soon, okay? Because we have real stuff to talk about. But Candace Owens went off on Tim Pool so hard, she started cursing at everything. I said, "Dad, this got you like that." But you know, and she's like calling, she's like, "Oh, he did that to his friend." None of them are friends. It's all business. But my boy Scotty P, he said, they're all grifting off each other. There are no good guys here. The one thing that is worth noting for us peasants, though, is that it confirms these right-wing money-making enterprises are beholden to the corporate machine, just like everyone else. You can't go around promoting yourself as some sort of anti-establishment crusade while also making sure to play by establishment rules. All right. So now I'm gonna get a little bit it was absolutely a good point. It was absolutely a good point. I'm gonna get a little controversial and say this. When I first came into, like, I guess I don't want to take on any labels, but we'll say the conservative side. You know, I feel like I was some sort of conservative, whatever. I thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, look at this space. A group of people who are saying the things that matter, right? Like, they're saying the things that matter, and they're bringing attention to the real problems that we have. And, you know, we are not all victims, and, you know, we could do big things and this, that, and the third. And I just thought I thought it was a great space, right, in the beginning. And then, like, I saw like little infighting and stuff. And then I used to be like, no, guys, don't do this. We cannot be like the left. Like, we can't, you know, like we have to stay, you know, I would comment these things, and I don't know, nobody saw, but like, no, we gotta stay true to the movement, you know. And what is the movement, right? The movement is the fact that everything is connected, okay, and it's connected to break you down as a person, whether it be your speech, your individualism, you know, your how you feel just about yourself, your confidence, your ability to make money, the free market system, your ability to defend yourself, all of it. It is literally all the children, okay? It is all under attack. So that's what it is, right? So I'm like, nah, no infighting, yo. Let's focus on it. But the more and more that I've been, especially like now that I make content and I'm watching stuff and I'm constantly, you know, I'm getting information or whatever, I'm realizing like a lot of these people are in this for themselves, right? My whole move with That Girl Casey Media is that I want to get the inconvenient truth out to people. I believe in informed consent about everything, not just, you know, of course, the jab, right? But about everything. Like, yo, there's new laws coming out. There's new legislation. This is how it's going to affect you. And, you know, and if you go back and you look at my catalog, I have done that about some of the bills that have come out. I'm getting ready to do it again. You know, I've freed up some time, so I'm getting ready to do it again. Talked about the Inflation Reduction Act, trying to breaking down freedom of speech, you know, clauses that are, you know, like Joe Biden's strategic plan for domestic terrorism, which basically, if you're a free thinker, you fall under that. It has not, white supremacy is not what they say it is anymore. It's just what it used to be. Today, it's not about your skin color. Like, if you think for yourself and you don't believe that the government should be in your living room telling you how to live, you are a white supremacist. So this is stuff like I've you know, try to talk about all this stuff. So that's my thing. It's like when my eyes were open in 2020, I was like, this is wrong, that so many lies and so many things are kept from us, that I want to be able to put out everything that I can put out, right? So this is why it is becoming more and more of a passion. It's becoming real to me. Like, you know, it's not just a fun little hobby, you know? Okay. No, I don't have these people's platforms, right? But I'm grateful for the one or two people who are watching, and you deserve the best quality of work that I can give you, because you're taking your time out to watch and listen to me. These people have millions of followers, and instead of using that to inform people, and I'm not saying they never do, but really inform people about what's going on, because there's so much going on. You can't cover it all. You can't. I know I can't. But these people have a conglomerate behind them that they could get people to do the research, like, yo, what bills came out, whatever. All right, on Mondays, we're going to do the new bills Mondays. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's something, right? And they can inform people of so much is happening while also connecting the pop culture to it. You have to make it fun. You do. I got to hand it to this girl because she talks about the Kardashians. She talks about all this stuff. So it is interesting to watch her channel. I do understand that. Like before, I stayed more science and political. I am adding the cultural topics too, because the culture, it all bleeds in together, right? So they have this platform, and then they just use it to get more attention on themselves. Like, and that's just really what it is. Like, and they throw little nuggets of information, and that's the part that is very disappointing, because I didn't think that's what it was. Like, so like I said, she's putting him out there like the bad guy, but they all got a hand in it. They do. What is anti-establishment? It is to say the things that we're not supposed to be saying. I don't know how that works. I know the Daily Wire still has to make money. I get it. Listen, I don't, and even me myself, sometimes I get annoyed because I don't say fully what I need to say, but I know for me, I can't lose this channel because I'm trying to reach new people every day, and I don't have a big machine behind me. So I'm trying to do the legwork. So I don't want to lose this channel. So I don't sugarcoat or whitewash my opinions and thoughts, but I have to use different words, whatever, because I almost lost this channel. But instead, they're doing things to get attention. Last month, was it last month or 2 months ago, there was this whole push. These conservative pundits are like done with Donald Trump. And I made a video about that. I said, now the trend is like, oh, we don't like Donald Trump. And then Candace Owens, who's saying, oh, that was mean that he treated his friend like that, this, that, and the third. Yeah, but you had Donald Trump on. That was supposed to be a friend. And you only, a lot of these people made it big on the back of that name. Okay. And you backed them up into a corner. Okay, about the jab. Fine. You should ask him all questions, right? You should ask him all the questions. That's cool. Then some report comes out or whatever. Then you found out apparently that he was talking about you or whatever. He don't bang with you like that. And that was last year. And so you chose to tell us this, though. You said that the people should know how the president, the person who's supposed to be president, how he can, quote, conducts himself, right? Because it's so important. But you waited a year to tell us that, when he was already being scrutinized over the Ron DeSanctimonious thing or whatever, right? So, like, miss me with all the good guys, bad guys. Miss me with all of this, really. I only stayed on this because I wanted to make that point, is that because I was telling people, like, I'm getting frustrated of the fact that, these people have these big followings and they're not discussing the things that need to be discussed, not fully, but whatever, right? That's their choice. And they get to do with their platform what they want to do. And I will do with mine what I want to do. I'll continue to do that. And that's it for that piece. I think I just about said everything I needed to say about that situation. And we will be going right into the whole reason, spiritual warfare in Ukraine. We're gonna get into that. But shout out though to the content creators who are doing it on their own. To the content creators who are putting out work that is from the heart, and they're getting, the results. People are listening. We are in a time right now where things are so weird, for lack of a better term, like a lot of bizarre things happening. Things aren't familiar anymore, and people want to know why. People want to know, how did we get here? And there is a reason. A lot of what we're going through or what we're seeing is it's not out of nowhere. It's all set up by design. So shout out to the people who are out here. Even it doesn't have to be about like just political things and all that, geopolitical and all. Like people who are talking about, like broken traditions, who he talks about being the mirror to the culture and how we broke our traditions, or Hypnotic, who talks about how they are going, the establishment has now bled into the entertainment scene and is destroying every franchise that they can get their hands on. It's stuff that needs to be talked about, and maybe might motivate somebody to make their own franchise. Is something that that will actually entertain people. Or, you know, like Eric July's done that. You know, Red Sings the Blues, who's young person who talks about what's going on in society, period, and putting a mirror on it, and telling men that they, you know, that they can be strong men. Any man out here who's talking like this, any woman out here who's just bringing information to people. And it's not just, when I say doing it on your own, like, of course, if you're backed by somebody, like, whatever, right? But people who are doing it from the heart, shout out to them. Okay. So shout out to all of them. Anybody watching, you know, Che, Middle Maga Man, everybody. All right. Okay. Now let us get into what we are here for, y'all, because this war is not just about land territory. Okay. Now, before I get into it, please, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. If you made it this far, if you're watching in replay, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button too. All right. So I want you guys to, I'm sorry, I need to take a sip. I'm sorry. Like, ooh, child. It's Friday night, and we're not going to be formal, but we are going to talk about facts, and I'm going to add in the spice, okay? Some of it will be my interpretations of what's going on, but with a lot of facts, okay? So we're going to get into it, all right? We're setting the tone, we're setting the mood, okay? In February 24th, they told us of 2022, they said Russia invaded Ukraine for no reason. And since then, it has been nothing but lies after lies after lies. Not only has it been lies, it has been this weird sacrificial commitment to Ukraine, where you have, in our country, you have General Lloyd Austin, who says, we are committed to this to the very end, okay? We're not going to stop until Russia's done. You have other countries like, we're going to give money. But our country too, by the way, USA. Other countries, we're going to give money. We're going to give money. We're going to give weapons. And they're depreciating their own supply just to give to Ukraine so Ukraine can take out Russia. And no matter how much the mainstream media wants to make it seem like Russia is losing, they are not. There is an encirclement going on right now of Bakhmut, and it, you know, and they call Bakhmut the meat grinder. It's actually sad, to be honest. It is, because again, this is blood and lives wasted for what? They're not going to win. They're not going to win. Okay. For the amount of tanks that Russia has already, they're making more. There is no winning in sight. Okay, so why don't we first start with how the West lies to us, right? 2 lies, real quick. Hold on. Like even this right here. Top U.S. general says Ukraine war has become an absolute catastrophe for Russia, estimating it suffered significantly well over 100,000 casualties. If Russia has suffered 100,000, Ukraine has suffered 300,000. Dead serious. And I don't think that Russia's even suffered that much, but whatever. Milley on Friday said Russia has suffered significantly well over 100,000 casualties in Ukraine. This marked a slight update from a figure Milley offered in November. Milley urged Putin to end the war, saying it have become an absolute catastrophe for Moscow. This is so not true. The Russian casualties, last time I reported out publicly, I said it was over 100,000. It's well over. They're saying it's well over. Milley said that this has been tremendous. So without, and hold up. Milley said that the tremendous amounts of casualties suffered by Russia, including regular military and also their mercenaries in the Wagner Group and other types of forces that are fighting within the Russians. Putin could end this war today. It's turning into an absolute catastrophe for Russia. I just sat here and I read to you the same 3 sentences like 5 different ways, right? There is no hold on, let me just make sure. Yeah, there's no type of evidence or fact to prove that this is true beyond just the fact that Millie said it. Meanwhile, anybody at this point, it's not even hard to find to find information on what's really going on in Russia. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to know, go get on Twitter, and then you'll find a bunch of like channels that are showing you what's really going on, in Ukraine. Ukraine is being taken out, and it's just the bottom line. All right. But you'll hear, if you want to look up Colonel Douglas McGregor, Scott Ritter, the Duran, they go into full Jackson Hinkle, they go into full detail talking about this. That these cities in Ukraine are being captured by Russia, being freed by Russia. This is happening. Okay. All right. Now, but the discussion that I want to talk about is the spiritual war that's happening in Ukraine. That is the spiritual war that's happening. And I always felt like something wasn't right. When I tell you it's all connected, it really is. So we'll start first with the Western lie about what's going on in the churches in Ukraine. So Ukraine bans religious organizations with links to Russia. First of all, when you see that headline, now most regular folk, they don't read past the headline. That's a normal thing. That's what average person does. So all you hear is Ukraine bans religious organizations with links to Russia. Ukraine banned the Russian Orthodox Church and some of like the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. That is not just a religious organization that's with links to Russia. These are churches. This is a church that has been, matter of fact, they took and made the one Ukrainian Orthodox Church and forced it to call itself the Russian Orthodox Church. I guess, because Russia bad. So once you hear that, you would think that they're bad, like it's a bad church, whatever. But they're banning these churches that have been around for hundreds of years, like at least 100 years, right? Okay. They're saying that Ukraine has banned activities of religious organizations affiliated with centers of influence in Russia, and it says it will examine the links between Ukraine and Russian Orthodox Church. Ukraine on Friday bans we already said that. Volodymyr Zelensky signed a decree enacting National Security and Defense Council to impose personal sanctions against representatives of religious organizations associated with Russia, which invaded Ukraine. Zelensky's decree additionally provided for examining the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Moscow Patriarchate, one of the two Orthodox bodies in Ukraine following a schism that happened in 2019. All right, so we're going to pause right there. You hear the Western way of explaining what happened. These churches were giving Russian propaganda, so they had to go. They're being banned. First of all, as a human, you just never. Okay, that's a lot, right? Okay, so. But the thing is, these churches, again, I said they've been around for 100 years. But what happened really was that Ukraine Orthodox Church, there was a split, but not because the people wanted to be split, but the United States of America, as usual, around 2014 started, was really meddling in Ukraine. And they were like almost forcing this split, where they had, by 2019, the last president, hold on, because we're not going to mess it up. I'm not going to mess it up at all, because this is like really important, Okay. Okay, Poroshenko. Okay, by 2018, okay, this is all right. The Ukrainian, Ukrainian, by 2018, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko initiated creation of an autocephalous Ukrainian church. There was also a political reasons for this initiative. The presidential elections were coming in 2019 or whatever, and then he ended up losing anyway, right? So when this church was created, right, for whatever reason, it did not need to be created, but it was created. After the presidential elections of 2019, the Orthodox Church of Ukraine was perceived by the new government as a project of former presidents, so that church was deprived of keen state support. Okay, so all right, Poroshenko had started this, this church had kind of, I guess, tried to split off the Ukraine Orthodox Church into like a small faction and say that this is the actual Ukraine Orthodox Church, right? Let me just say, I am not Orthodox Christian. I don't know what a lot of this, like, I'm not a Catholic or anything. I'm a 7 Days Adventist. But I understand the importance of symbolism of, I know when certain moments in time that there are certain events that are taking place that are going to be part of prophecies. Okay. So these churches mean something to these people. So when he did that and made that little church, the people of Ukraine were like, yeah, we're not going to follow that church. Because at the time when Zelensky was placed as president over in Ukraine, he probably didn't know what his purpose was. I don't know, but they asked him, like, well, how do you feel about the churches? And he was like, I really don't care about church. You know what I mean? Like, this was like, whatever, they can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? Of course. So like I read to you, Poroshenko left, and the people said it didn't get that much support because they were like, that's the old president's thing. However, the U.S. State Minister Mike Pompeo spent efforts to restore the relations of that church with the new president of Ukraine, which he visited Kiev. He visited the head of that church, Metropolitan. Why am I doing this? Metropolitan Bishop Epiphany. English is my second language in real life. It is though, and only after that he visited President Zelensky, and so he told Zelensky to have good relations with that church. He told Zelensky to have good relations with this church that was just made in a year before. Why was Mike Pompeo going to Ukraine and telling people to visit churches, to have, telling the president, you need to have good relations with that church. Okay. And only after that, all right, blah, blah, blah. The U.S. was very active in that process. After that church was established at the end of 2018, it was State Secretary Mike Pompeo who congratulated them first. Pompeo worked under the Trump Organization. I do not like Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo is also one of the reasons why Julian Assange is in a prison somewhere where they're ready to, basically execute this man because he put us on to a lot of the lies, especially the lies about, the Afghan war, I don't even know what war this was called. The war where they just did whatever they wanted, weapons of mass destructions, but they weren't there. Assange also let us know, like, we're basically being followed by, hey, JC, we're basically being followed by our government. I also believe that Assange put out a lot of child situations going on with leaders and countries, and you know what I'm saying? And I think that's really why they want him dead, because in real life, what did he really say that we didn't really know kind of already, right? So, okay. So, I mean, to this day, this man is still in prison, and it's terrible what they're doing to him, all because he was a journalist who told the truth. Anyway, so Mike Pompeo, he first congratulated them. And then the three other churches who recognized Fedor's decision. So apparently, from what I'm hearing with the Duran, all right. So the Greek Orthodox Church ended up accepting this new church as real, right? But Cyprus and all the other ones were like, no, like, we don't know this church. You don't just do that. Like, there is a Ukrainian church of Orthodox church in Ukraine already. Okay, so anyway, the three other churches recognized Fedor's decision, took such decisions after Mike Pompeo or other high-level U.S. officials visited them. Well, they're saying that, like, now if they are being recognized, it's because, like, Mike Pompeo told these people. Pompeo visited Turkey, and the only person he met was Patriarch Bartholomew. Pompeo did not meet with any Turkish officials after that visit. After the U.S. presidential elections were won by Joe Biden, who would declare the return of USA. One of the first people who congratulated him was Patriarch Bartholomew. Biden is also known for his support to Fenner, that is Bartholomew, in its struggle, or I guess that's the church that Bartholomew is involved in charge of. In the Orthodox world, the supporters of Fenner expect that after that visit, some other Orthodox churches, such as so other Orthodox churches wanted to become like do their own thing, but it never happened for them. Okay, and it wouldn't. Eastern Europe, for this reason, for this reason, it is not clear whether Biden during his term will render real support to this church or not. Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Without a clear support of U.S., Fenner will be hardly able to realize his plans concerning the Orthodox world. So what we have here basically is, when you hear Bartholomew, so this was the Greek patriarch, I guess the head of the Greek Orthodox Church in Constantinople, who said that this church is a real church, okay? And it was actually unprecedented for him to ever do anything like that. So now, all right, so there's that. And then now you have, Biden becomes president, and then this guy, this patriarch is congratulating him immediately and all connected. Okay, so the churches, what was the original Ukraine Orthodox Church was headed. It also was like under the guidance of the Moscow Patriarchate. Okay, the Moscow leader. I'm learning all this at the same time as you, because I didn't learn about none of this growing up. 7 days of Adventist, keep the Sabbath, that type of thing. I'm not even doing that right now. It's terrible, ain't it? But so because of that, they went and made this little church way back before the invasion to remove themselves from anything that had to do with Moscow, right? Which was bad because it removed the unity. You're not supposed to do all this. Like, churches aren't supposed to get involved with all this, right? All right. So this is before the invasion. All right. So now we have this little church here that really isn't getting that much traction until Voldemort goes in and bans the actual Ukraine Orthodox Church. And he banned it. That is a lot of nerve. Because these, again, are staples in their history. This is their church. This is their religion. Okay. Now, and because it's so, now when I say he banned it, let me show you what's going on as far as, hold on. This was interesting to me. And then I'm going to wrap it up and tell you why I find this interesting, put my spice into it. Okay. So apparently, the real Ukraine Orthodox Church, and you have to be careful when you hear people talk about the Orthodox Church of Ukraine now, because it will appear that, like, if you hear people say like, oh yeah, the leaders of the Orthodox Church of Ukraine condemn Vladimir Putin for his invasion of you, more than likely it's this little schism now, that it's not really the real Orthodox Church of Ukraine, because the Ukrainian Orthodox Church forced to ask Russia not to speak on its behalf on January 17th. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church, the real one, requests Russia not to speak on its behalf at international venues, was made under pressure from Ukrainian authorities or special services. The former ambassador to the Lugansk people of the Republic of Moscow, Rodion Mishornik, told TA. Okay, so that's what's up. Earlier in the UOC, while commenting on a meeting of the UN Security Council called on December 17th at the initiative of Russia, said that at the moment it has not turned into any state with a request for assistance in protecting its right. Also, the UOC called the Russian Orthodox Church a structure that had no connection within itself, and also Russia not to speak. Okay, so we already said that. All right, so the UOC is being completely in the hands of the regime, follows simple reasoning. So they're telling Russia, don't go to the UN and start talking for us and saying that, speaking about what's going on in the churches. Like, please do not do this. I guess like in the in public in the UN Council and all because they may start killing us earlier than planned and taking our churches away today and not tomorrow. The UOC still has something to lose. They're not ready for an uncompromised struggle for survival. They still think they can come to terms with this maniac. I guess they believe that they can pray for him. I don't know. Their statement obviously did not appear without pressure from the authorities or special services. Okay. And so basically that's what they're saying. It's like they're like, yo, please don't even fight for us because it's actually dangerous if you do that for us. Okay. Now I want to show you guys some footage of what's going on and what's called. And so Zelensky, his thing is like, oh, I almost end the I just want to, make sure that there's no Russian propaganda. So we're going to ban this church, the official church. That's what they banned. The official church of Ukraine. You could say that's what they banned. You're never supposed to have church and state, period. We're not supposed to have it here. We're not supposed that it's not supposed to be like that is a prophecy of the Bible. That's an international natural law in the Bible. There's not supposed to be church and state. So you're not supposed to have the state saying that we're going to ban this church that's been here all this time. That is a lot that goes into that takes a lot of what can I say? Not only just strength, but boldness. You're pretty brazen, and you must be backed by some sort of force that we don't see, right? And this was being planned ahead of time for this conflict today. I wonder if Mike Pompeo probably wasn't even involved in getting Trump out of office. Why not? Because, this war in Ukraine means a lot to these people. All right, hold on. I gotta read that to y'all too. Orthodox Church of Avadno, Volyn region, far northwestern Ukraine, mysteriously catches fire after the rector refused to denounce the Moscow patriarchate. Ukraine is a terrorist state, and that's what the person said, right? So it mysteriously catches fire. I guess they go in and they tell you like, who's your patriarch? And they wouldn't denounce Moscow. Excuse me. They wouldn't denounce Moscow, So another church on fire. The war with Orthodoxy in Ukraine continues and will end either with the expulsion of the church from its ancestral lands by replacing it with the new satanic faith of sexual perversion and erasure of biological sex, or with the collapse of the godless state called Ukraine. Okay, so I'm going to get to what this lady just said, Callie Nurse. Shout out to Callie Nurse, because that was definitely a good point. I am going to get to that. And then this is like one of the churches that apparently now I can't. Okay, so I didn't go out there to make sure that this is really these churches, right? So we have to take it at face value. So apparently these are one of these church, but I mean, you really can see the architecture inside, and you could tell that this is a church. And these people are here dancing around, doing their folklore. Inside. First of all, you're not. This is a church anyway, right? So like, you're not even supposed to be doing all this in there, right? So, but a lot of people are posting the same thing. I don't know if it's bots or whatever, but this really did happen. Like, so it's in Ukraine. Okay, so in a church is what I'm being told, because again, I didn't go to Ukraine to find out. So, all right, now let's read real quick. Because this, as I was looking for some information, this popped up from Zero Hedge. The head of the Russian Orthodox Church has warned that any attempts to destroy Russia by madmen trying to impose their values will lead to the end of the world. I don't believe man will end the world, but you hear this, madmen trying to impose their values. We're going to get to that. According to Patriarch Kirill, madmen are stupid enough to believe that Russia, which has powerful weapons and is populated by extremely strong people, can be defeated despite the fact that it has never given into an enemy and had always emerged victorious. The church leader also described how such madmen were trying to impose on them certain values that cannot be called values, so that they would be like everyone else and obey those who have power and control power to control most of the world. We pray to the Lord so that He enlightens those madmen and help them understand that any desire to destroy Russia would mean the end of the world. I'm not going to call it the end of the world, but I will say that any desire to destroy Russia will mean World War III. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev made similar remarks when he was asserted that Russia had never lost a major conflict on which their fate depended, and that the result of defeat in conventional war would be triggering of nuclear war. Meanwhile, in a potentially massive new escalation, the New York Times reported that the United States is considering working with Ukraine to attack Crimea. Like, come on. Like, there is no working with Ukraine to attack. They don't have any. Like, it's like you're taking a knife to a gunfight, literally. So all it's doing is aggravating a situation that's already been aggravated enough. How far would these people go? Okay. Let me see. Emboldened by the belief that fears that the Kremlin would retaliate using tactical nuclear weapons have dimmed. Biden's neocon handlers are essentially taunting Russia to use nukes against Ukraine. Somebody named Chris Manning said. Another Orwellian speech, NATO Security General Jens Stoltenberg told Davos globalists that the military escalation is the only way to bring out the end of the war. Weapons are the way to peace. Yeah, I want y'all to hear this. Hold on a sec. Let me make sure. Like, scratch myself. So let me make sure. I'm gonna have to parse this out. I know it's Friday night. A lot of people did not come to the live like normal, like on a Wednesday. I think I was on Wednesday, but I had more people then. So I don't know if I'm gonna do weekly wrap up on Friday but like, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm gonna have to parse this out because this is important for people to hear. And I'm also on at a prime time when people. Okay, it's all good though because it's all good because that girl Casey is going to be the ish. Okay, why? How did it get back here? Because I picked the wrong thing. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna be right back at it. Shout out to everybody who's on with me though in the beginning days. I will remember you guys the days that when this channel blows up and we have 1,000 on a live stream. I will remember who was with me from the beginning. All right. So, all right, let's listen to this guy tell us about the way to peace.
It is extremely important that President Putin doesn't win this war. Partly because it will be a tragedy for the Ukrainians, but it will be very dangerous for all of us. Because then the message to authoritarian leaders, not only to Putin, but also other authoritarian leaders, is that when they use brutal force, when they violate international law, they achieve what they want. And that will be a very bad and dangerous lesson. It will make the world more dangerous and us more vulnerable. And that's the reason why, if we want a negotiated peaceful solution to the war in Ukraine, we need to provide military support to Ukraine. That's the only way. Weapons, they are the way to peace.
And everybody nods and says, "Yes, this is true. This is very true." Hold on, let me see.
Do you think if this war in Ukraine lasts 3-4 years, 5 years, Europe has the staying power to see it through, to continue supporting Ukraine, deterring Russia, dealing with the energy issues that arise out of it?
I think the only message that we need to send that we will support Ukraine as long as needed. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. We will support Ukraine as long as needed.
You hear that? As long as needed. Okay. I want you guys to hear one more as long as needed. Michael Tracy's killing me though with this. Prime Minister in Finland tells Davos that her only message is that the Ukraine war must be supported for 15 years longer if needed. This is the kind of perpetual war rhetoric used to be associated with John McCain style war fever. Now it's associated with the slave girl boss. Like, I can't. But hold on. I want you to hear one more person who was saying this back in 2017. You know, there are some things as I'm learning more that I don't want to say fault Donald Trump, but I got to tell you, he should have been paying attention to his people just a little bit more for my comfort. Hold on. Because some of these people was running amok, starting new churches in other countries. You know what? But he started to pay attention though, because he started to ask questions like, "What's going on over there in Ukraine?" Now he started with the Biden family, but he was like, "Well, what's going on over there?" They were like, "Oh, impeach him." this civilian is asking way too many questions. All right, hold on. You know, there he is, Baltimore. You know, everybody, he goes on the screen, and everybody like, this is the guy who they place as their leader, who's following the instructions. We'll get into the instructions, guys. I didn't forget. I want you to hear Lindsey Graham.
Your fight is our fight.
Ваша боротьба – це наша боротьба.
2017 will be the year of offense.
Рік 2017 рік буде ріком нападу.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
Ми всі повернемося до Вашингтону і ми будемо відстоювати санкції проти Росії.
Enough of a Russian aggression.
Досить вже російської агресії.
It is time for them to pay a heavier price.
Час вже, щоб вони заплатили важчу ціну.
I believe you will win. I am convinced you will win, and we will do everything we
Hold on.
Your fight is our fight.
Hold on.
convinced you will
That's
win.
John McCain,
and
y'all. This was
we
2017.
will do everything we can to provide you with what you need to win.
Я вірю в те, що ви виграєте, переможете. Я переконаний в тому, що ви переможете, і ми вам допоможемо всіма можливими засобами.
Це те ж саме гільзи з ворожих БМП, які розмальовані художництвом.
My bad. This was 2016.
З Новим роком, дорогі мої!
So you had the old fogies going out there to Ukraine, they were trying to escalate this war from the door. So Lindsey Graham and John McCain probably figured, like, you know, at the time, I think Donald Trump, depending on when this happened, Obama was still president, and they probably assumed that Hillary Clinton was coming anyway. You know, a lot of people didn't think Donald Trump was going to win. So if this is 2016, then they probably assumed Hillary was going to come anyway. Let me tell you something. She was definitely going to be a part of it. So, and we didn't see any escalation, though, when we had the last administration. I'm not making them out to be heroes. I'm just saying that there is a plan that not everybody was allowed to be a part of, you know. Ukraine this is a Russian volunteer troop who found a child network hot zone in Ukraine with human trafficking, satanic organ harvesting. You know, let's wrap it up though with the obvious that nobody probably wants to say, that I'm going to say, because like, we need to stop not being able to say things. Like, we need to stop waiting for the data to come out or the evidence to know that something is true. We're not always going to get the evidence. We're not always going to get the studies. Waiting for studies have gotten a lot of clots in hearts in the past 2 years. I'm going to leave it right there with that one. But it's not all the time you're going to have the perfectly printed result so that you know what's going on exactly. But I'm going to tell you what I feel. This war is connected to everything. This is also, it's not mostly a spiritual war. I have heard speeches where Vladimir Putin is saying, you know, y'all not pushing y'all satanic thinking on me about, you know, gender, transgenderism and all that. Like, y'all not pushing that here. But that's the thing. Like, let's keep it real. All right, I'm going to do one disclaimer one time. You can live however you want as an adult, whatever. Kids are under attack, okay? Secondly, you don't need to push your beliefs and your personal life on anybody else, okay? If you see my video about the Russian, he's not even Russian, like, I mean, he's Russian, but like, he's lived in America for a long time, about the NHL player with the rainbow flags or whatever. Now, everybody was giving him a hard time or whatever. This has to stop. We go to other countries and we try to promote, and of all things, let's keep it real. It's the homosexuality, the LGBTQIA, you know, that agenda. When this first started, Jen Psaki was still the press secretary, and she was saying things like, We need to make sure that we protect the LGBTQ transgender people, in Russia and all. And I'm like, what? I thought this was a war. There's something that America is pushing on to other countries. When you had gender studies for Pakistan, they were sending $25 million to Pakistan for gender studies. That is completely against their religion and everything they know. It's completely against that. But America, the West wants to force that upon people. We are living in a society. Our country right now is so confused that kids don't even know if they are boys or girls. Like, come on. We don't stay stuck on any kind of value of God. I'm not talking religion. God. We don't. It's like you're just free to be whatever you want, but you can't be anything that's natural. You can't be anything foundational, but you can be whatever you want. So then you don't know who you are. And that's how they want you, confused and lost, right? I love where I live. I love where I live. The citizens of this country are good people, right? But the establishment. And so what's going on that in the World Economic Forum, they have to push this agenda that we must get rid of Russia. We have, the only way to end this is like, even for 15 years, we're going to get rid of Russia. Like, are you crazy? First, you're not getting rid of, like, that's not happening. But then you hear the man he's like, y'all not bringing this stuff to my country. Y'all not, because I am a Russian nationalist. There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate where I come from. I love where I come from. I love who I am. And so I'm going to defend it. And so in America, our empire, the love of being an American has been absolutely destroyed through ideology. It has, now you hear, I'm not making any disclaimers. Now you hear everything about America is bad. It's racist. It's white patriarchal. It's this, all this confusion. And for what? To break up the empire. Because when you got a bunch of people hating where they live, a bunch of people who hate where they live for whatever reason, either be because they're a woman and they feel like a victim, they're Black and they feel like a victim, they're gay and they feel like a victim, they're transgender and they feel like a victim. Who's going to defend the place? Who's going to defend the values of the place? When you hear people saying that the Constitution is racist and all that, like, come on. So when it comes down to it, who's going to defend any kind of value? And then the culture is embedded with evil filth, all right? I'm not perfect, but we know it's embedded with evil filth. So what's going on in Ukraine? It feels like a sacrifice. It feels like that these leaders are saying we will sacrifice it all for Ukraine. We built the church out there, we built the church out there, and which should never have been done, church and state, and we're going to fight this peace because we have to get all of our New World Order agenda out, and the only thing standing in our way is basically Russia. And people will say, like, oh, the Chinese. Listen, I don't know. One thing I do know, though, no country, if a country wants to call itself powerful, they're not going to want the globe to run them. Even China wasn't at the WEF, World Economic Forum. It's just nothing but Western world stuff, and I'm reading all this, and this is really serious stuff here that they changed out this church. They're burning churches, and then my tax dollars is going to fund that. That's evil. And I don't think I should pay tax. I don't think I should pay federal tax. Why should I? Why? That's totally against my religion, what y'all doing. Absolutely. The biolabs that were in Ukraine that Putin said he bombed. I hope he bombed every last one of them. Because I don't know what kind of creations they probably had in there. Biolabs in Ukraine. What were they making? They weren't making a bunch of different kind of coronaviruses. Okay? What are they making? America is really showing itself to be Babylon because they are the leaders of this distorted filth. They are. And when this invasion happened, I felt compelled to pay attention to it. I don't know why, I just did. I mean, I was like, they're lying to us. And everything that they said, like, I just always would feel like it's a lie. And then I would find evidence that it was a lie. Russia bombed Mariupol, and they left all these residents for dead. And I was like, I bet you it was Ukraine who did it. Later on, it was Ukraine that did it. It was Ukraine that did it. They went to the city and they destroyed this city because these people were still, looking for Russia to save them, and they destroyed the city. So, like, it's always a lot. And so these people are telling you, like, we're gonna keep defending Ukraine. Like, we are in a war with Ukraine, and it's only but seconds before we put troops on the ground. It is, seriously. Come on, look at this sacrifice. Look how they feel. I don't know how they keep egging on China. I don't know with what strength they do that. I don't know. So we need to, like, it's prophecies that are being fulfilled. The kings of the east are starting to rise. These things are being fulfilled, and our Western culture is on the wrong side of these prophecies. I am not telling anybody that you have to be 7 days Adventist or anything. Cling close to God, because these quote leaders who go to World Economic Forums and who act like they're gonna tell us how to run our lives and that they really think that they run the world. But one thing I know is that they know God is real. So, because everything they go against, everything they fight against is something that's actually we're supposed to be doing. That's like in the Bible. You know what I mean? Man and woman, like God made man and woman, or climate change. We have to worship the earth. We are not supposed to worship the earth. We're all this climate change, all of this stuff, a lot of it is man-made, and we are not supposed to sacrifice ourselves when we want to reduce the carbon footprint. And you're made mostly out of carbon. That should hit you a certain way. That should really hit you a certain way. They're not talking about little emissions. They want to reduce the carbon footprint. Your footprint, okay? They want to reduce God's creation. Yes, his favorite creation. And so tonight, when I'm looking at this and that I see that United States went all the way to Ukraine to make a church, basically you could say that's what happened, right? Mike Pompeo is evil, very evil. The people behind him, there's a lot of evilness going on. And I'm going to keep it real. And you'll see videos too where they're saying, where these armies are saying, like, where they're trying to push all this LGBTQIA agenda on us and stuff. We're fighting against this Satanism. We're fighting against. That's all you keep hearing them say. That's all you keep. Somebody, I'm sure there's going to be somebody, who will later watch this and say, well, it's just propaganda. No, it's not. It's not propaganda. Like, we cannot keep all the time, like, I don't know. What is it going to take for us to know that this is the way? When you have men going into bathrooms with women because they say they're a woman, right? Women are being erased. We can't even have bathrooms. Literally, you're hearing stories of women who are in bathrooms and all of a sudden they realize that there's a man in there. There's a man in there. And because he says he's a woman here, he is now a woman. That's evil. Let's call it what it is. That is evil, because that is not real. Like, that's saying whatever, doing whatever you want. It's not real. This is not natural. It's not. How long is it going to take for us to realize this? The kids, they are giving puberty blockers to children. Our country, hold on, is promoting giving puberty blockers to children. Have you taken a look at our Secretary of Health, our Assistant Secretary of Health, Rachel Levine, Admiral Rachel Levine, who's neither an admiral or a Rachel? Have you? She said he says he wants to give puberty blockers to kids. They are in schools. They have curriculums and trainings to teach these counselors how to pinpoint a child and say that might be a transgender kid, something that does not exist. It does not exist, okay? And they're saying, like, like if they see a child who looks sad, is everything okay? Well, you could talk to me. Do you not feel, you feel, and then the child, come on, you're like 9, 10. I remember when I was 9 and 10, I was totally awkward, like totally not comfortable in my skin at all. And so now today, in today's society, I'd been like, I don't think I'm pretty. Oh, well, maybe if you cut your hair, you'll be pretty. Maybe if you wear some pants, you'll be pretty. Oh, you would look like a pretty boy. That's what they are doing. Social emotional learning. I'm going to make an episode about SEL when it popped up, when I noticed it in 2020. And I'm like, what is SEL? How do you feel today? It is assessments on kids to see how they answer, to see which one they could pinpoint as a transgender kid. They have trainings for OBGYN obstetricians, people who are birthing babies, to be able to pinpoint a transgender babies. So then when they pick this child and say that child's transgender, so what should the mom put? Lupron in the formula? How far does this go? The kids are already under attack in the Western culture. We weren't paying attention and we looked up again. All of this stuff I'm saying is not, it's here. It's already here, right? It's already here. And they're at the point too where some Congress people are trying to say, like, we want to make it a law where if you don't transition your child, we're going to put you, you could lose your job. We'll put you as a case of CPS because you are neglecting your child. There was a man in Texas who is fighting to get his son because his ex-wife keeps putting that boy in a skirt. And he has videos of this boy saying that he does not want to wear that stuff. And she's a doctor and she is trying to force that boy to be a girl. And they did not give him custody. He said he's safer with the mom. Women are bad. Women are bad. Okay. Women are bad. Okay. Not all women are bad. Munchausen by proxy is real. And people are doing that to their children today. Our society has been infiltrated with an evilness that is attacking children all the way down to when they first come out the womb. Okay. All of these, just when you look at things for what they are today, it's like it's sad almost. It is. But in this country, for me, I know I'm gonna speak out against it or whatever. But over there in Russia, they ready to bring out order. Yeah, I'm not bringing y'all. We don't need y'all. What are you trying to take us out for? Exactly for what? You know what I'm saying? For real, for what? Okay. But we don't need your help. And since Russia's been in this war, they've gotten more economically stable. We already know they're a strong group of people. They're probably more healthy because McDonald's and stuff is gone. You know what I'm saying? They're out of most of these world organizations. Man, that's great, right? So what are you trying to impose? Like, oh yeah, we're going to go to Russia. We're going to put regime change so we can free these people so they could be liberal. Like, this is a great world to be when you got 14-year-old girls cutting their tots off and boys cutting their penises off. Like, it's like that, like we're pushing that on kids. And, yeah, we need to give these people liberal freedom. That's not freedom. That's misery. That is absolute misery. And these people said that they're not going to take it. And guess what? Shout out to Russia. And that is how I feel about that. Because when it comes to kids, that's how you fight. That is how you fight. And that's a lot of what's going on over there. That is my thoughts. And you can, of course, disagree with me. Please comment below. Tell me how you feel. But I've seen enough. It's been a year. I've seen enough evidence to show me that that's what this is about. And they do need to fight. Go ahead and keep fighting. And with that, I'm going to end this live stream. Thank you for everybody who came this Friday night. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and parse this and put it out there. And I'll be talking to you guys real soon.